Alabama got their lick back against Vanderbilt. Final score in Tuscaloosa. Bama 30, Vandy 14. Now that final score doesn't tell the whole story for how this game finished. We'll unpack it from both sides. But if you're a college football sicko, if you love this sport with every fiber of your being, if you're saying no to the pumpkin patch on Saturdays to watch ball, welcome. You're just like us. Make sure you're subscribed. College football, nothing but college football year round. Instagram, Twitter, at JD PicKell. Get at me on there. Let me know your thoughts on this game at JD PicKell. Okay, so my biggest takeaway for Bama is I think the Bama we're dealing with right now, the real version of Alabama that has stood up now, is more close to what we saw against Georgia and against Vanderbilt than what we saw week 1 against Florida State. Because the Florida State game was so unsettling if you're Alabama or an Alabama fan, because you're like, hey, where's the sense of urgency? Where's the intensity? Where's the offensive identity that we signed up for with Ryan Grubb now being our OC? All those things. Like, now with what you saw the last 2 weeks, handling business against Georgia, and then in a revenge spot against Vanderbilt, handling business there, I think this Alabama team is starting to round into form. And rounding into form, quite frankly, at just the right time. In the middle of college football, the October month, going into November now, I think Bama is the real deal here, to put it simply. All right? Now, the composure from Bama was what stood out to me yesterday, because Vanderbilt in that first quarter, I thought was the more violent team. They were the more disciplined team, had a couple of explosives, and there was a minute there where you say, okay, starting to feel very similar to what Thomas Castellanos did against you in week 1. Diego Pavia is starting to trend that way in the first quarter. Okay, you had, over 100 yards rushing in that first half. I believe a lot of those came in the first quarter. Look at the end of the game. Alabama, I believe for the last 3 quarters, according to Kalen DeBoer, allowed 20 yards rushing. So the composure of it to take a punch, settle in, no panic, handle business, that tells me a lot about the wiring of Alabama football. Like, it wasn't a thing either where Alabama gets down and just abandons their game plan. Like, Alabama didn't get punched in the mouth and say, okay, we got to huck it, and I'll start throwing the ball around the yard. They did throw the ball around the yard, but it wasn't out of this, self-preservation. It was all within the game plan. Go down 0-7, we're all good, everyone hang tight. Go down 7-14, hey, 2-minute drill, bing, bang, bam. Jeremy Bernard, I didn't know they called him the Infection. Saw that from the Alabama social page. Nasty work. Cool nickname, I guess. Germs, you get it. Just handle business. Nobody panic. Stay the course. Ty Simpson's a freaking baller, dude. We got to have a real conversation about Ty Simpson being one of the best quarterbacks in college football. I think there's a real discussion for him to be the best quarterback in college football right now. Went for 340 yesterday. 11 yards an attempt. He makes that whole thing. He's the catalyst of the offense for Alabama. And the temperature, I think, that he sets for that football team is the catalyst for the entire program. Like we said it a lot. The way that he stepped into being the guy at Alabama, not your starting quarterback, being the guy since that Florida State game, to me has made all the difference. Like, there's the sense of urgency we talk about post FSU, and there's the edge they're playing with. I'll say this again. That radiates for me from number 15. Ryan Williams, tough drop at the end of the game yesterday. 3rd and 4, got to have it, doesn't get it. Goes over to Ryan Williams and gets in his face in a positive way, like, dude, I'm coming back to you. I couldn't read his lips, didn't have him mic'd up or anything like that, but you could tell by the body language, he's pointing to Ryan Williams' chest, like, dude, we're going back to you. You're still that guy. Like, we need you in this spot. And that, to me, just spoke to his leadership and spoke to just the overall internal feel for Alabama. This is a team that seems to be very tight-knit, and maybe some of that comes from the Florida State loss. I don't know. So there's that part of it. The composure part of it for Alabama should tell us a lot, and I think a lot of that comes from Ty Simpson. The defense locking in also tells us a lot about the way they're wired and their ability to respond, because going forward now, I promise you, Alabama will be met with other moments where they're down a score, have a slow start, whatever it is. It's college football. It's the SEC. Bama having that trait makes me feel real good about them here, rolling through the rest of October and going into November. The most impressive thing, though, for me, is we saw Alabama for the first time under Kalen DeBoer against a quality opponent now take a game in the fourth quarter. Say, JD, we beat Georgia, though. Yeah, you didn't score in the second half, though. JD, we beat, who else did they beat? We beat Wisconsin. Yeah, it's not a quality opponent. Alabama, under Kalen DeBoer, for my money, had not taken a game in the fourth quarter since he's been the head coach there. They did that yesterday. And Kalen DeBoer kind of gets tabbed with the nice guy label because he's not Nick Saban. He's not going after the media. He's not donkey barbecuing guys on the sideline. But Kalen DeBoer, what I saw from him yesterday, some black Air Force One energy from my guy. All right, for those of y'all that don't know what that is, essentially, he's not just about winning. He's about making sure that you know that they dominated you. Like, I understand the Caden Proctor story behind the weight loss and him getting in shape and the reward and all that. Like, I hear that. I understand that. Caden Proctor getting a carry on 3rd and 1, as much as there's like the advantage schematically with him being massive and him just moving the football down your throat, that's one part of it. It's trolling. Hey, we have Caden Proctor on our football team, and there's not a thing you can do about the physicality we're bringing to you. We're going to dominate you. Here's a visual representation of that, a physical representation of that. We're going to troll you by handing the ball to our 300-plus pound offensive lineman and just make you say uncle and have it be embarrassing for you that we handed the football to somebody that's a lineman. Yes, there's a schematic advantage. I think it was trolling from Kalen DeBoer. 37 minutes time possession. That is, no, we're not just cool with winning the football game. We want to make sure that we leave a message here for you, Vanderbilt. And I love it because last year it was a revenge spot. The last year was embarrassing for Alabama. All the conversation about it being Vandy, it was embarrassing. So Alabama, to put Vandy, from an Alabama perspective, back in their place relative to Bama, that message was sent. And I was so surprised nobody asked about this postgame for Kalen DeBoer. I listened to the press conference, was waiting for it. Nobody asked. Alabama could have taken a knee and made it a made it a more close final score. And it could have been like, I think, 9-ish points is what I think it was sitting at. Instead of taking a knee, Kalen DeBoer says, no, we're giving the ball to Jam Miller, and we're going to leave you with something here. All right, Black Air Force energy. We're going to leave you with an extra touchdown on the ground. Jam Miller has 6 yards per carry. He's eating your lunch all day, all second half. Imposed their will, left a message, and didn't just win, made sure they covered. Kalen DeBoer must have had that profit-boosting coin from BetMGM. I digress. I love that from Alabama. I love they took a game. I love the physicality. I love that they were aggressive downfield, but also were able to run the football. This version of Alabama can hang with anyone. Full stop. Now, I want to touch on the Vanderbilt side of things, too, because I think it's important. We need to change our tone when we say the word Vanderbilt out loud. Notice what was said about Vanderbilt this weekend. Or this week, leading up to this week, I should say, myself included. There was always the Vanderbilt or the Vanderbilt. It was always a little bit of a little inflection, like almost implying this is not the normal for at Vanderbilt. And I understand why, because it hasn't been the normal for Vanderbilt. This is not the old Vanderbilt. This is a legitimately good football team. And they made the mistakes that you can't make with that team on the other sideline, with that offense on the other sideline, and it ended up costing them. But this team and what they did in the first quarter and what they've done at this point in the year should not be devalued by that final score. I know a lot of people will say today, well, that's what you get, man. You run your mouth, get served humble pie. No, that's who Vanderbilt is. Like, Vanderbilt feeds off of that. Off their guys saying if we play our game, it shouldn't be close. Off Cedric Alexander saying we're going to dominate them. Vanderbilt doesn't care. And I love that about them, and I think that's going to serve them well. But, again, you can't make the mistakes they made and expect to win a football game against that level of talent on the other sideline, on the road. Lived in third and passing far too much. The turnovers, the competitive plays here belong to Alabama. The composed plays across the board belonged to Alabama, and that's why Vanderbilt lost. But I'm not sitting here saying Vanderbilt's going to go back to the doldrums of the SEC. Like, Vanderbilt's going to get somebody here the rest of the college football season, dude. I'm telling you. Play a couple of games here against Tennessee, against LSU. Like, Vanderbilt's going to pop up and ruin somebody's Saturday and ruin somebody's postseason aspirations. Believe you me. So, with all that being said, I love the energy from Bama. I love the composure from Bama. I love Kalen DeBoer not being the nice guy, freaking taking the soul from Vanderbilt at the end of the game, proving a point, leaving a message. And for Vanderbilt, as much as it hurts, much as you lost the opportunity there, they're going to get somebody here the rest of the way. And I think yesterday was a good indicator for the duration of that thing, how close it was, the duration of that thing, that they're not just a good story. Got to deal with Vandy. All right. Hey, appreciate y'all. Love y'all. Make sure you're subscribed. Cato on the ones and the twos. For myself, JD PicKell, we will keep this party rolling. We will see y'all next time.